Oh, perhaps we're live. I can never be quite sure. Hello, welcome to Office Hours with Amber. I'm Amber. This is Office Hours. We're on month 3, guys. Pretty crazy. Did you think we'd make it this far? I sure didn't. When it comes to routine or consistency or posting on the internet, I'm the worst, and I can accept that about myself. Oh my god, the hair is herring? Is this what health and wealth looks like? Okay. Love, I have been so self-indulgent today, and I'm not sorry about it. We've got the amber glass. She's looking a little crusty. We've got the amber glass with the amber Red Bull in it. And I'm Amber. And yeah. So today, man, let's just do some stuff. We've got some housekeeping first. A lot of fun updates. But yeah, we're going to go from there. It's going to be great. Okay, so today is week 1 of month 3. This month's goal was to do Microsoft Fabric, and then I did a little research on it, and I thought, no, I'm not interested. So we're changing the plan, but I'm really excited. This is my month for PowerApps in the Microsoft, suite. Jody, thank you so much for coming. So this month we're doing PowerApps, which is so cool. Even back at Anheuser-Busch, at the infancy of me understanding Power Apps at all, essentially I see Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate all kind of working together. All can be used separately, but the true weaponization of the Power Suite together, chef's kiss. So I love Excel more than most. Let's get that so straight. The thing about Excel is that some things it's just not as good at. I would say data entry is good, but it could be way better. And a lot of what Excel is not good at is like transactional time stamping. And Excel is really good if you're the only person using the Excel sheet or if everyone is very educated in Excel. However, Power Apps is a really good tool to be able to interact with the database, update records, add records, etc., etc. Today's goal is to just learn more about it. Because I'm sure there's way more than I even partially know about it. So I'm really excited. Preliminarily, next week, I'm going to be trying to build a very basic warehouse management system inside of there so I can track inbounds and outbounds, edit inventory, and then also use it for picking orders. So I've got lofty goals for next week, but today we're just going to research. We're just going to watch some YouTube videos. But first and foremost, let's go back just a sec. So a few things, a few little key details. There's a QR code right there. If you would like to join Office Hours with Amber, submit your goals. If you just want to join for the Zoom call, all you have to do is submit your email address and yes to the Zoom call question. I think they're loads of fun. Hey, Esther, I owe you a new template, just by the way. I have not forgotten. If you want to get involved, there's a link there. In the bio, there's also a link to submit your monthly vibes. I think it's kind of fun to self-reflect. And I've gotten such good feedback in the monthly check-ins, and literally every time I get a new response and someone's actually following the process, I'm like literally crying tears. Like I've gotten a lot of the things that we ask about are like, what wins did you have? What vibes did you like? What was the ranking of vibes? What kind of roadblocks did you encounter? What's the surprising insight you uncovered about yourself? Like just some questions to get you thinking about. But I asked, what are you inspired by lately? And someone said, the sunshine in my spouse. Delicious. I love warm weather. It needs to keep coming. That sun really changes things. You're damn right. My seasonal depression just right off my body. But anyways, I cannot stress enough how much I love reading the monthly check-ins, and I eventually will be doing some little cute things with it, but I digress. A huge win is a friend of mine tried a new food for the first time. For her was a huge win. That's so exciting. And it's really cool how many people are getting like taking a lot of steps forward in their personal life. For instance, my sister Jody has had such an incredible gym consistency, and she's hitting new PRs and she's doing new things, and it's like I'm so incredibly proud, and I'm not gonna cry, but it's really cool to see how people are interacting with Office Hours with Amber and like taking full autonomy and like ownership of their lives and doing things outside of their norms. And I think that's so cool. I digress. Back on subject. So a few other things we need to address. Yes, I did overpluck my eyebrows. This one, never heard of her. The tail, like you see how this one's got kind of like a energy to her. She's like a full eyebrow, and then this one's like she kind of gave up. And if you know me and my eyebrows, they've been on a journey for the last 15 years. If you come to my birthday stream on March 31st, you'll get to see some fun photos of me over my years, and we'll tell some stories and play some trivia. So can't stress enough to come to that one. That'll be really fun. Also, I normally will do a little ADHD check-in at the beginning of each of these episodes. Cool thing. I just closed up a huge project, so now I can refocus more energy into Officers with Amber, building this community, learning more things. And it feels like a huge weight lifted. And if you know me and ADHD, I'm an opener. I am not a closer. I am bad at finishing things. So it's like a huge accomplishment. Not only was it my first like real professional project, not just with me and Matt. So that was really a huge accomplishment for me. And I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but yes, Lily, thank you for tuning in. Big wins for Lily and I. The fact that we opened and closed up the project, huge. So the nice thing is my Foursquare, I now have a whole square for Office Hours with Amber. So we're going to be doing so much stuff this year. And yeah, so I'm really excited. Okay. Additionally, had some other things. Oh, I was going to say that I've decompressed from work and I took my Ritalin, but obviously the Ritalin ain't working yet. But we're so fine. Okay, I wanted to go over a few of the goals that some of the Office Hours with Amber members are doing this month, which I'm so excited. Okay, the nice thing is also there's a link in the bio for Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, chit chat with us about how your monthly goals are going, I think it's lots of fun. That's just a personal point. Okay. So I'm doing PowerApps this month. We've got others that are learning how to shuffle a deck of cards, learning how to get into more of recruiting, improving M skills with Power Query, 100 push-up challenge, PowerPoint tips and tricks, Python in Excel, as well as posting a website, Tableau, get more contracts, PowerPoint focus, try a new hobby and meet up with new people. Love. Eat breakfast every day. That's a huge goal. I don't even do that. And I think setting reasonable goals for yourself is just chef's kiss. Advanced financial modeling, post 2 YouTube videos and 1 hobby video, meditation 2 to 3 times a week. So many good things. Okay. Lots of good stuff happening in the community this month. Very stoked. I'm going to close out my Excel, so maybe some of my bandwidth will come back. So since this is something new, I'm going to follow my own path of Googling, ChatGPT, and YouTubing to kind of set the tone for PowerApps. Because I feel like I know, but you never really know. So let's see if I've set up my stream correctly. I'm also turning off the music. So sorry if you loved it. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with with ChatGPT. I want to learn more about Power Apps in the Microsoft, which I don't think you can really see that. There we go. Microsoft 365. We'll just say in Microsoft 365. Also, if anyone in the chat can tell me if my audio is working and if my video is choppy. Oh. Oh, gee. Thank you, Jody. Side note about ChatGPT. They have a really cool thing now that you can give it instructions on how you want it to respond to you. So if you want it to be like a sparring partner or to just agree with you or to provide like factual resources from the internet, they've been really updating a lot of their like ability. Like you can say like search the web versus like give your own opinions. So that's been very cool. Okay, we're just going to read through them. And let's remember, I'm almost illiterate, so bear with me. Canvas apps give full design flexibility, whereas model-driven apps are data-driven and standardized with UI. That means nothing to me. Connectors, they connect to a bunch of different data sources with SharePoint, Excel, SQL. Okay, we're going to mark that down because we do need to know more about connectors, which I feel like are pretty similar to, because they're in the Microsoft environment, connectors are going to be very similar to like, I'm stuck. Going to be very similar to Power Query, probably not Power Query itself, but I'm imagining something close. Connectors, data from Excel. Another thing is I feel like a lot of small businesses, there's always this jump from using Excel as a database structure and jumping to SQL or Snowflake or some sort of data warehousing system. And I want to find out what is the determinant of when to swap or when is it appropriate to actually like switch over, or should you really just do it from the jump? Because I thought if you're a small enough business, like 1 to 5 people right now, like it really doesn't make sense to teach everyone database structure because you're so in the mix of just editing things on the fly. So all of my best practices and my soul want to say that I need to be in a database structure right now, but I go back and forth. So if anyone has any specific opinions about that, feel free to drop them because I'm going to put that on LinkedIn later. When to start using database structure, small business. Okay. PowerFX, use Excel-like functions for logic and interactions. Patch. What the hell is that? Also, you guys are going to get so much side chin today. Hope you're excited. I know I am. I almost should put the twinkly music back on while I read stuff because I feel like la la la. Yeah, we're gonna put twinkly music back on because I feel like it's just the vibes. We need like lo-fi beats or something. Afternoon jazz. Oh, I don't want an ad. Okay, never mind. Okay, controls and components. Buttons, galleries, forms, reusable components for efficiency. Ooh. Basically, I'm just familiarizing myself with the vocabulary I should be using when I'm looking this stuff up. I have a general vibe of some of this stuff, but that's the whole point, is to learn more. Oh, I've lost my mouse. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but vibes are high. Forms. I'm imagining... Man, I can't make that much quieter. I'm imagining for forms, like, for instance, if someone's coming into the... Like, if we're getting a delivery, being able to mark which company it came from and, like, which company it came from and, like, a list or maybe a picture, being able to submit that would be nice. We're going to feel it out, but I'm feeling forms already are going to be important. Oh, Harry Gross, thank you for coming. I hope you're all snuggled up in bed, but I appreciate that you're here. Buttons. How I've described PowerApps before is like, imagine you could take a PowerPoint slide and program it to do stuff for you with like the bones and structure of an Excel sheet of like so many calculations could be happening on the back end and you can interact with the database. So it's like the best of both worlds, I fear. Okay, publishing and sharing. So that is one thing that I do not like. We're gonna zoom in on this. One thing I have beef with the Microsoft environment for is being able to share externally to your organization, because we interact with a lot of customers, like external, and I think Microsoft does a fantastic job internal and being able to share internally. Google, I'm going to be honest, pretty good at having guest users and external users be able to interact. I have hope and I have dreams that Microsoft eventually catches up. That's why for this project this month, I'm focusing on an internal application that we don't need external users for, because I don't have high hopes without having to set every single person up with like a Microsoft license and get them access. I just have no hopes, but I digress. But yes, internally, I think it is nice that you can do role-based access control. So like, for instance, back in my AB days, we would have a Power App that each individual wholesaler, without us rebuilding the wholesaler 6 times or 30 times, we could just have people who come from this organizational account could only see things that were connected to their wholesaler, which is nice. But for my little peewee company, we don't need that. Okay. So specific use cases, approval workflows, don't really need that. Dashboard and reporting. We can embed Power BIs, which is kind of cool. We're not specifically there yet. I will say the mobile-friendly forms will be huge for data entry, and then how it connects to our warehouse, like our current on-hand inventory. Incident tracking as well, I think is good. And inventory management, scanning barcodes, updating stock levels, that's going to be huge. I need to like do a little bit more research on Dataverse. I don't think it's going to be that difficult, but like usually when I skip over keywords is when I get myself into trouble, not in like inside of the Excel competition. Oh, speaking of which, I'm not even sharing my screen. I'm so sorry. The last Excel case was like, I think it was the Unicode Unicharacter one and unscrambling words. Your girl is already illiterate in English, now scrambling up letters. I didn't quite know. I thought I answered 3 solid questions and 3 bonuses with like my whole ass. I was like, I did so good. I was confident. I got those scores back. Girlfriend did not get very much. I was in the bottom 50. Yikes. Anyways, moving on. Okay, inventory management, love. Industrial engineering, process optimization, Power Apps. Turning manual things into power-friendly mobile apps. Yes. KPI monitoring real time, I do love. really that doesn't feel like, in terms of KPI monitoring, if there was a section that was like inputting when dings are happening or inputting data at some point, sure. I think really if it's KPI monitoring real time, that would be done in Power BI. I digress. Be better. Esther, I don't think I did. I'm fact checking on that because that last one I did not very well. And you also kicked super ass on the one either previous. No, you know why, Esther? It's because you didn't submit your answers, but you know you did better than me. How dare. But yes, I did have fun. That is the point. Humbled every time. And Matt, thank you so much for coming. Okay. That is, okay, back to PowerApps. The key part about PowerApps is linking. It's really the special sauce is when you link PowerApps and Power Automate to get that data for you and then have it automatically coming to and from. Like, and I sound nutso right now, but like Power Automate really, I think I have a slide on this somewhere. Esther, I'll take your point for that, but you and I both know you're gonna whip me next time. You're gonna wipe the floor with all of us. I think I did a slide on the interaction between Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. And I'm pretty sure I've lost it. I'm gonna be bummed if I lost it. I did. Damn. That was a good slide too. Okay. Big ups for the UK chapter of FMWC. MEWC? I don't know what they're... I think it's the FMWC. But yes. Harry, if you want to drop a link to the FMWC YouTube in the comments, free plug, because they're fantastic. But I would love to do some free cases. That's my favorite kind of cases. Okay, I'm going to focus, guys, I swear. Integrate with Power Automate. What I'm saying is Power Automate is a really good vehicle to get things coming and going. It's Mark Proctor did a really good presentation on the zero-click dream, and I'm obsessed. Real-time tracking, inventory, production, and shipments. Huge. That's really, I'm glad it's getting to the same point. Okay, we've had enough of ChatGPT. So if you guys do not have PowerApps, I encourage you to type in PowerApps.com, log in with your Microsoft account, and see what happens. There is, I think, certain versions of it. I think it's either $20 a month or, I haven't looked, I'm gonna be honest. I charge things to the credit card when it comes to Microsoft and like move on with my day. I don't suggest that for everyone, but unfortunately that's where I'm at. So it gives you all of these, like, of course there's some AI nonsense that's going to be happening. I'm going to try to just mess around and follow some YouTube videos. So we'll go from there. I know April Dunham was at the Global Excel Summit and she did a, on the third day, she did a Power Apps demo, or she did like a training on Power Apps. So I'm going to take her as my trusted advisor today. What I've recognized is when I click into watch other YouTube videos, there's like people get into the depths fast. And so I'm really excited that through the next 2 weeks, I fully anticipate that I'm going to build the coolest tool ever for me. But I digress. Okay, Lo-Fi Jazz is pausing, and then we're going to this.
What's up, everyone? April here. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all things the Power Platform and Microsoft 365. Recently, I did an introduction to Dataverse video, and after the great response I had to that, I did a poll asking you all what intro video would you like me to do next. And the overwhelming majority of you said Power Apps. Now, for all of you watching my channel, you probably know that I love Power Apps, so I was quite surprised to look back at my content and realize that I've never did an introduction to Power Apps video yet, so it's time to remedy that. I want to keep
And
this
if you
as
can't
short
hear
and sweet
her,
as
let me
possible,
know.
but I want to cover what PowerApps is, the different types of PowerApps that we can create, some of the high-level concepts, and how to get started. All that coming up right after this. Well, first things first, what is PowerApps exactly? It's a no-code, low-code platform for building applications. And with PowerApps, we can build not only desktop applications, but also applications that work on your mobile devices and your tablet devices. All this being done without having to know a traditional programming language like, say, C# or JavaScript.
This is Wix Studio,
built
to meet any brief. When your project calls for bold creativity,
I'm gonna be honest, Wix ain't it. She does her best, but
to describe how PowerApps works, how you're actually able to build applications with a low-code technology, I like to describe it as PowerApps as if Excel and PowerPoint fell in love and had a baby, and that would be PowerApps. And the reason that I say this is the design interface for PowerApps Canvas apps specifically, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on, is very PowerPoint-like. It's a simple-to-use, Office-esque experience where you can drag and drop controls into the screen and build out the layout of your application. Now, the logic layer is really based off of Excel. We might have saw a previous video that I had, and I'll put a link to that up here on PowerFX. That is PowerApps Canvas app's low-code programming language, and it's actually based off of Microsoft Excel's language that it uses for its formulas and expressions. So when you need to do some complex logic inside of your application in PowerApps, you could use an Excel-like expression to, say, filter data that shows from your data source. So that's why it's really the perfect marriage of if Excel and PowerPoint had a baby, that would be what the experience is like to create a Power App. And we'll take a look at how that works here later on. Now, PowerApps is part of Microsoft's Power Platform suite of tools. So with the Power Platform, this is a holistic suite of low-code technology that Microsoft offers to do not only low-code application development, but also to do things like dashboard and reporting with a tool that we have called Power BI, and to do things like building low-code chatbots with a tool called Power Virtual.
This is so funny. I didn't even have to preface anything. She already just did everything way better and cleaner than I did. So congrats, everyone.
Agents. And the glue that kind of binds all these together is our workflow and process automation tool in the Power Platform called Power Automate. So that's the great thing about when you choose PowerApps to build an application is, by design, by choosing that, you also get to take advantage of all of the other functionality that we have in the Power Platform to do things like extending your application and adding in some business logic and workflow to it, and dashboard reporting and even chatbots. One of the other great things about the Power Platform and PowerApps is that it's not only a no-code, low-code technology, but you can also inject some of your code-first traditional development into the platform to extend it even further. So what we like to say here is it's truly a no-cliffs experience as far as what you can do with it and how you can extend it. And if you haven't caught my Intro to Dataverse video, be sure to check that out as well, because the Power Platform sits on top of Dataverse, and it's a key component of the Power Platform and PowerApps. So definitely check that out to get your 101 level primer on Dataverse itself. But one of the things that really makes the Power Platform and Power Apps even more powerful is a concept of something called data connectors. So we currently have about 500 different built-in connectors that we can use across all the Power Platform. So this is our Power Apps and our Power Automate solutions, workflows that we create, Power BI.
Okay, this is going to be a hot take. This is a mid take, honestly. Sometimes there are tech companies that will bolster a ton of connectors that nobody ever uses. Like, I think there's one in there, like there's these little ones that you can see, like, I wish I could zoom in, but like if you see like 90% of these little connectors, nobody ever uses. There's some good ones, obviously Asana and Pipedrive. Oh, I love the Pipedrive that's in there actually. But like Pinterest, I mean, I'm being selfish by saying nobody would ever use them. But sometimes tech companies will be like, we have so many millions of connectors. And it's like, really? Who uses those? Show me a report of how many percentage of users use those. But I digress. I'm not being shady.
And Power Virtual Agents. And what this really means is if we were to say build an application the traditional way with some C# or JavaScript code, then anytime you want to integrate with various services, whether it be maybe Google Drive or Salesforce or Dropbox or Microsoft Office, whatever it might be, we would have to go through the process of coding in those authentications and integrations into those services. What the Power Platform offers, however, is a way for you to easily plug and play into over 500 different services without having to do anything except, say, drop that connector in and authenticate into it. So that really opens up the doors to the types of scalable solutions that you can create connecting to all kinds of different data. And these connectors are not only for Microsoft services. This is for all kinds of services. Of course, Microsoft's worry about coding in all these various integrations.
Wow, look at this.
Enough. Less, please. There we go. Oops, sorry.
Old now, so I thought it was time for a refresh. So I'll just cover that here in this intro to PowerApps video. There are three main types of PowerApps that we have that we're able to create. The one that I probably most commonly talk about on my channel are canvas applications. And they're called canvas applications because it literally gives you a blank canvas that you can drag and drop and have complete control over the user experience of your application. So this would be an internal facing custom app, because one of the concepts that we need to make sure we understand when we're talking about building applications with PowerApps is the scope at which that application is intended for. With PowerApps Canvas apps, the scope for this would be people within your company or your tenant where you have your Microsoft 365 environment. PowerApps Canvas apps right now are not something that you would take and publish to the Apple or Google app stores and put out broadly like that to several external users. These are for your internal business applications. But with these Canvas apps, as I said, we have complete control over the user experience. It's very PowerPoint-like, which we'll take a look at here in a second, where we can drag and drop different controls on the screen and get an app set up. One of the distinguishing things about Canvas apps and why they're so commonly used is that they have full support for those data connectors that I just mentioned. So if you need to build some kind of mobile application or desktop application that is maybe pulling in and surfacing up information, say, from maybe your Salesforce system, maybe also information from Dynamics, ServiceNow, you name it, you need to mix and match a lot of these different data sources in one application, then the Canvas app would be your choice for that, because we're able to mix and match the different data sources and use multiple data sources in our applications. Now, when we talk about Canvas applications, there's this concept of building a responsive application. And what that really means is, when we get down to it, is we build the application once and it's able to respond its width and height accordingly based off of the device you're on. So whether you're on a desktop, a widescreen monitor, or maybe you're on a more narrow portrait mode phone. PowerApps, out of the box, when you build a Canvas app here, it's not responsive natively. But we do have capability to make the app responsive. So we have support when you build a Power App. It will work on a desktop, on a mobile, and on a tablet device. But if you want to take it that extra step farther and make it truly responsive and optimize the experience, then we can do some additional logic and code in there to make that happen. The other cool thing about our Canvas applications is we have widgets and ways that we can embed these applications easily inside of your SharePoint intranets and inside of Microsoft Teams. Now, moving on to model-driven applications. Now, these are similar to Canvas apps in that they are internal-facing for people in your organization, those tenant-wide organizational business apps. But where it differs is the amount of control we have over the UI and the type of data sources we can use. So model-driven apps are kind of what we call data-first design, and they're very tightly coupled to Dataverse. So how I like to describe it is model-driven apps are good for internal-facing, kind of like database dashboard, admin panel type situations. So rather than dragging or dropping multiple controls, you start with your data. So maybe I want to create an application to see all of the data in my clients list and all the orders that those clients have made, and to be able to easily manage that information. Maybe I'll have a dashboard that I want to see of the orders that we have to date, things like that. Well, that's a good use case for a model-driven application then. So we do have limited UI control. It kind of configures the design for us when we point it to the different data that we want to consume and use in our application. We can do things like add in custom controls using something called the PowerApps component framework. So we do have a little bit of control that we can have there as far as, the colors and being able to put in some custom controls, but not nearly as much control over the UI as we have with Canvas applications. These model-driven apps, though, are responsive out of the box, so they will work on your desktop, tablet, and mobile devices without you having to do anything extra. And finally, we have something called Power Portals. Now, these differ pretty greatly from our Canvas and our model-driven apps. So Canvas and model-driven are for, mobile desktop apps.
Before she goes on, I hope that the portals situation is exactly what I'm thinking, because we have been looking for a client portal to be able to share inventory reports with our clients, be able to share quotes, be able to share files, be able to receive action items. That would be so huge. I have low expectations. I'm not going to get my heart set on it because I've been duped before. However, that'd be so sick if it was, because then, to the moon. Okay.
Applications, but PowerApps portals are basically a way with low-code technology for you to build a website. So with portals, we're able to have even anonymous and external access, just like we would traditional websites with this technology. Now, similar to model-driven apps, the data that we actually surface up and consume inside of our Power Portals is going to be tied to Dataverse. So again, it's tightly coupled to Dataverse, so you need to pull in data from there.
Like I said earlier, I think that's the tough part. I was like, I don't need to know what Dataverse is. I think I need to know what Dataverse is. That's tough.
We do have more control over the UI than we do in model-driven apps here, and that's because you can inject and use HTML and CSS in the PowerApps portals. And because of that, because we're able to have HTML and CSS and have a little bit more control over that, we're able to make these responsive as well. So that's kind of a high-level summary of the main types of applications that we can build in PowerApps and the use cases for each. So let's take a look at how we actually get started. PowerApps is part of Microsoft 365.
Dang.
So you will need the appropriate Microsoft 365 license to be able to use PowerApps. Most enterprise licenses and even some of the business premium SKUs include a version of PowerApps that you can use. I don't want to get too into the weeds of licensing here. There is a licensing guide that I'll put a link to in the video description, which goes through the ins and outs about how much all this costs and what type of Microsoft 365 license you will need to be able to use PowerApps. Generally, most E-level licenses to our Office 365, we should see on the left-hand side here an option for PowerApps, and that will open up the PowerApps portal. Another way we can get to this is by opening up a browser tab and going to make.powerapps.com.
Still recycling the same old product photos?
Girl, she better be making some money off this. I should also subscribe. That's on me. Whoops.
Build a Canvas app, a model-driven app, or a portal as you're seeing here. Now, there are a few different ways that we can start creating an application. So we can start with our data, as you're seeing up here. So if I know I want to create an application that is maybe tied to an Excel spreadsheet that I have created already, if I do the start from data option, it's actually going to create a simple 3-screen application for me. So you see it's actually going to show the different SharePoint sites that I have and my OneDrive. And I can look and see any Excel workbooks that I have, like this flooring inventory one, for example. And then it's going to show me the tables that I have within a workbook. So for this to work, you do have to have your data formatted in Excel on a table. So
Ooh. Let's just see what let's see what my thing picks up. Let's just see. Start with data. Don't have permission to create here. How dare. That's fine. That's fine. Matt, if you're still watching, text Mike. Unless there's an existing rock-solid Dynamics 365 foundation or the client CRM already established. Boo. You could use... I think I'm going to do Canvas. And then I'm going to do Canvas. That's going to really educate me on like what tables and data I should be using. And then I'm going to circle back around and probably rebuild the whole damn thing after you roast me. And let's just see what's already living in there. La 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 la. And I don't think, oh, those are all very made up things. Oh yeah, those are all super made up. We're just going to create a canvas and start from there today. We're just going to create a little blank guy. Yeah. YOLO.
So I have one table called flooring estimates, and I can click connect, and really here within a matter of minutes, this is going to create a fully functioning application for me based off of the data that I have in that Excel table. So you see when I do this, it's going to open up the PowerApps Canvas Studio, where I can have that PowerPoint-esque experience for creating an application.
Have you guys seen, okay, we're gonna chit chat. Have you guys seen, there's a TikTok video that it was like two people, like the blind leading the blind, and it's one guy that's like, they're listening to a YouTube video and it's like, don't pull out the black plug, but they had already pulled out the black plug, and it's like, if you've already unplugged it, don't plug it back in, and they'd already plugged it back in. That's exactly me watching tutorials and like, oh, I'm gonna take some creative liberties here, and then immediately it's like, oh, hope you didn't do that, because now you're so far off track you'll never be able to catch up. And that is how I feel at every educational conference YouTube video I've ever watched. And then I try to like circle back to try and figure my life out, and then I don't. So anyways.
Now, if we look on the left, we have screens. Screens are just how we organize and structure our Canvas application. So this is an example of a Canvas app. So as you can see here, we have 3 different screens. We have one screen called Browse, which is surfacing out the information and the data from our Excel table. We have a screen called Details, which is showing the data for a specific record in that table. And then we have a screen called Edit, which is actually enabling us to add data and edit data for a particular row in that Excel workbook. We can test our applications easily in the editor by clicking this play button at the upper right hand corner. And you can see, not only can I scroll through all of the different data that I have in Excel, if I click on one of these, like this tile here, this marble, it's going to take me to that detail screen where I can see all the information about this particular item. And I can even click the pencil, which will take me to the edit screen so that I can override and make any changes. So that's a simple way to get started and kind of see the ins and outs of how a Canvas app works, is by doing the start from data and starting with some kind of Excel or SharePoint data that you might have already. And hopefully this looks sort of familiar to you. The look and feel is very similar to the Office applications or like PowerPoint. You see we have at the top here in the ribbon, we have an Insert tab. And this is where we can add all the different types of controls that we have available to us in a Canvas app. And these types of controls range from buttons and labels to different types of inputs like an HTML text. We can actually inject HTML and CSS into our apps with that control. We have rich text editors, pin inputs so that we can collect electronic signatures, and all kinds of other inputs like drop downs, slider controls, ratings, toggle buttons, checkboxes, all the typical controls that you would expect in a form or in an application. We have a concept of a gallery, which is what we're seeing on this page. A gallery is just a way that we can surface up a list of data. We also have forms, which is what you're seeing here on this screen. It's just a way to create a simple input form to intake data. We also have several different media controls we can take advantage of. We can add in images into our applications. We have a camera control to have an interactive camera to take pictures inside of our apps. We can embed videos and audio. We even have barcode scanning that uses your mobile or tablet's device native barcode scanning functionality to enable you to do things like do a quick inventory app and scanning those barcodes.
Barcode scanner, huge. Because when I tried using this 3-ish years ago, they did not have that. So that's music to my ears because obviously warehouse important.
We're able to record audio with a microphone control, view PDFs, and we even have integration with maps, being able to embed that, and mixed reality with our 3D viewer object. And then adding in all kinds of fun icons that we can use for different things like navigation between different screens in our application. And you'll notice a tab here for AI Builder. This is some additional functionality that we have as part of the Power Platform and PowerApps to infuse some artificial intelligence capabilities into our applications. So without me having to write a line of code, I can do things right out of the box like input a business card and have this pre-trained AI model that's part of the AI Builder automatically detect all of the text in that business card and say add it to my Dynamics database. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see our data tab. This is where we can have the power to mix and match all kinds of data sources using those connectors that we have. So in addition to Dataverse, if we expand this connectors tab, we'll see all of those 500 different data connectors that we have. We can add those into our Power App for anything from Twitter, as you're seeing, to Salesforce, Dynamics. All we have to do is search for the data that we want to bring in, the type of connector, add that into our app, and start using it. So here's an example of what a Canvas app will look like.
Oh, that'd be cool to make like an Office Hours with Amber app where people can track their progress and their vibes each month and adjust their monthly goals. Cute.
Like. So this particular application, I've optimized it for the mobile device, but it works just fine here on my desktop. So I have it open. I'm able to see a dashboard. I can book an appointment. So I have multiple screens with a calendar control. I can move through. I can find open desks. We have images that it supports. And the same app I can use and pull up on my mobile device. And that's done by using the PowerApps application on your iOS or Android device. Now let's take a look at a model-driven application. And one thing I want to point out here on the make.powerapps.
Let's just make some dummy data real quick. If my Excel will load. Uh-oh. Okay, we're just gonna swap this over to the Excel. There we go. Let's just make a dummy table. Name. ID number. Let's just impersonate my other data. UPC, brand name, company, item, quantity. Let's go with that. I guess it might be good if you guys wanted to actually see what I was writing. It's all nonsense. Let's be so for real about that. Also, fun fact, if you're ever wondering, when you're formatting data, UPCs, I always data validate as text. Oop, just kidding, text columns. I always do as text because numbers always will do you dirty every single time. Beautiful. Red rose shoes. Cake decorating tools we have so many of. All right, let's make this a table and move on with our life. Let's give her a name. On hand inventory. We're gonna save this as test inventory. All right, vibes. We've got our test Excel sheet. Now let's go back to PowerApps Studio. All right, let's do stuff. Let's add some data. One size 15 shoe. Exactly. Like, I mean, crazier things have happened. All right. Oh, you rat. Where did it go? Am I dumb? Wasn't it just right there? I saved it as an XLSB. Of course I did. Oh my God. Okay, we're already about to fight. What? Okay, no, I'm so cool. I'm fine. I am so fine. I think also if you don't have the like if you don't have the Pro license, like I'm sure there's other things that are probably missing and easier to deal with. But I'm gonna be dumb for a little while, so bear with me. Also, vibes from the group, are you guys more XLSX people or XLSB people? Check authentication window pop-up. I will. That's a great idea. XLSB. All right, we're saving as the other. Close. Add. There you are. On-hand inventory. Connect. Now let's do something with you. Don't know yet. We're going to figure that out. Insert. Okay, and then you can add okay. Very cool. That was very easy. I mean, they said so, but I didn't believe them. Okay, as easy as that, guys. You make a table, voila. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to open that bad bear back up. I'm going to refresh it, and I'm going to see if it still links to the same thing. That's the true test. I'm sure it will, but it did say static, so we don't know yet. Yeah, we've done some silly things. We've ordered too many straps and not enough fanny packs. Happens to the best of us. Oops. Oh, I did not share my Excel screen. I was changing the data. Okay, data. Let's see if I can refresh it. Hmm. 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 I'm being dumb. It feels like there should just be a refresh button. Hmm.
portal is we can easily tell the type of application we're using here on the right hand side with this type column. So I can see these are some campus applications, and here's an example of a model driven. Now, as I mentioned before, model-driven differs in that you start from your data and you don't have as much control over the UI. So if we say a new model-driven app here and click create, you'll see where the process differs. So first thing we need to do is give our application a name. So create an app called Account Manager. And this is actually using some newly released designer experience for our model-driven apps. So we have kind of a new and improved interface for this. So it doesn't look too drastically different than our Canvas application. With this new experience, it looks a little bit more seamless. But where we can start is we can say add a page, and then we can choose the type of data we want to show. So in my case, for an account management application, I might want to pull in some data in a tabular format from one of my Dataverse tables. So I can choose this table-based view and form and click next. And this is where I said it's very tied to Dataverse. So it's going to show all of the different Dataverse tables that I have. I see I have one here called account. So I can select the tables I want to add, click add, and it's going to build the application for me. So the structure is, again, a little rigid. I don't have a lot of control over how the data is visually appearing here, but it does give me right out of the box here, without having to do anything, a ready-to-use application where I can see and manage all of my active accounts from that table. So if I save this now and I click play, it's going to open it up in a new tab. And you see with that one simple button click, I actually have a ready-to-use holistic application for managing records in my accounts table. So not only can I
There's a refresh function you can call button icon on the canvas. You almost had it. Type in refresh in the formula bar up top instead of the left where you were searching. Okay, we're close. Do I need to like attach that to a button? Right now it's on fill. So I think, okay. If we do insert button and then on select, refresh on hand inventory. Okay. Damn. I do like that it gives you like why. Oop. So I think it might have been something like if it's I think there's like a sub. Let's do a ChatGPT just said. We're very close. We can edit this to say refresh data. The nice thing is you can also, a cool thing that you can do with, oh, I want all of this to move. Move, please. The cool thing is back in my day, you could adjust the like color that when you're like hovering over it, what it does, like a bunch of different things. The name of the data set is what has to go in the parentheses. See, that is the name of the data set, I thought. Well, let's go see what I called it. On-hand inventory. Yep. Yep. Do I have to do another? Nope. Maybe it's because it was imported specifically from Excel, but it wasn't connected to the data sheet itself. That's what I'm thinking. There she is. Brilliant. Okay. I think with the Excel Online is how you connect to. Oh. Nope, I'm being silly. Okay. We're on the on select. And then it still thinks it's ugly. But I think if I try it with this new data set that's actually live connected, that might work. I need to delete that out of there. Okay. Let's press play. Oh, wait. Let me reconnect. Eat. Let's connect this to on-hand inventory 1. Okay. Vibes. Okay, now what I'm going to do for my next trick, I'm going to update this data set again, and I'm going to see if the refresh button works. And I think I did it out of XLSB. We're going to find out. Oh, cool. It even makes its own ID. Love. Okay, we're saving. And then I'm gonna go in here. We're gonna press play. And I'm gonna press refresh. Oh, fuck yeah. Cool. It worked. Okay, vibes. Vibes, guys. That's actually huge. Small wins. We can connect to data, which the nice thing is like, for next week, I'm going to disguise our clients' data, obviously, but building the bones to work like this, magnifique. Ashley, thank you for your coaching. I couldn't have done it without you. Otherwise, it would have been way worse. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay.
Nice.
We're going to listen to April for a while, and we're going to keep ripping.
See all the data stored in the table here, and I have built-in function.
Also, hygiene-wise, in these, I have found, so you see how this says button 1? It's very much best practice to actually name it what it is. Because otherwise you see rectangle 1 through 100 and you're like, what the hell is that? So oftentimes it's something that's very seemingly forgotten about. But
Functionality to sort.
The cool thing is the new screens, you can also, like, the real thing is like an application, you have your home screen and you can click through to the different subsections. So really what I'm imagining and what should happen is I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna share a different screen. I'm going to find it first. There we go. Okay. So really I need to do a wireframe before building an application. And so really this should be happening next week. But what I'm imagining, which is my favorite thing to do, is really it's just going to be like, there's going to be like a welcome screen and kind of like a choose your own adventure. And it's all going to be based on the part of the process you're in. So it's going to be kind of like a process map, I'm imagining. Oh my God, it's already been an hour. Well, we have accomplished damn near nothing today. However, we made the beginnings of an app. We connected some data. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I encourage everyone to join Office Hours with Amber. There's the QR code schwa right there. Next week, I'll actually be building the application that I just started today. I'll probably get started before this just so I can like do more intricate things next week. But cool. Ashley, thank you so much for your words of wisdom. If you want to do some competitive Excel training and you're an Excel lady, feel free to hop in the Discord. We'll be doing that here shortly. But yeah, what a successful week. I actually like learned something and I'm feeling very empowered to do more things. Also very proud of everyone who is taking steps forward with their goals this month. Yeah, very cool stuff. Tune in week 2 to build the application. Tune in week 3 for Ashley to for me to interview Ashley and her to give me all kinds of feedback on all the heinous things I just did in Excel and PowerApps. And then week 4 will be our community call. And then week 5, because there's 5 weeks in March this month, will be my birthday live stream. So I encourage everyone to come and stay in the loop on YouTube because we're going to be doing lots of stuff this month. But